In a small town nestled in the heart of rural America, the sun began its ascent, casting a warm, golden hue over the sprawling fields of corn and wheat. The air was thick with the scent of earth and the promise of a new day. Clara Thompson, a spirited young woman of 20, awoke to the familiar sounds of the farm. The crowing rooster, the gentle rustle of leaves in the morning breeze, and the distant hum of a tractor starting its daily toil. Clara was not just any farm girl. She was the embodiment of resilience and determination, with dreams that extended far beyond the confines of her family's land. Clara had spent her childhood tending to the crops, learning the rhythms of the seasons. But as the world around her shifted with the onset of World War II, her heart ached for adventure and purpose. She yearned for something greater than the daily grind of farm life, a calling that would allow her to make a meaningful impact. The war had cast a shadow over the nation, and in her small town, the sounds of radio broadcasts filled the air with updates from the front lines, while rationing announcements echoed through the community, reminding everyone of the sacrifices being made. As she prepared for the day, Clara's thoughts drifted to the ongoing efforts to support the troops. Her mother had always instilled in her a strong sense of duty, and now, more than ever, Clara felt compelled to contribute. With a firm resolve, she donned her faded blue dress, its fabric soft from years of wear, and tied her hair back into a neat bun, ready to face whatever the day would bring. The townspeople were rallying together, organizing drives to collect supplies for the soldiers, and Clara had taken it upon herself to spearhead these efforts. The community hall buzzed with activity as Clara arrived, greeted by familiar faces. The townsfolk were busy sorting through donations of clothing, food, and letters to be sent to the men and women serving overseas. Clara's heart swelled with pride as she watched her neighbors come together, their spirits unbroken despite the uncertainty that loomed over them. She moved from table to table, offering encouragement and support, her laughter infectious, a beacon of hope amid the chaos. It was during one of these bustling afternoons that Clara first laid eyes on General Michael Harrington. He was visiting the town to boost morale and inspect the local military base, a dignified figure clad in a crisp uniform that spoke of authority and leadership. As he entered the hall, the room fell silent, all eyes drawn to the commanding presence that seemed to radiate confidence. Clara felt an unexpected flutter in her chest, a mix of admiration and intrigue. There was something about the way he carried himself, the kindness in his eyes, that captivated her. Before we start, I'd love to ask for your support. Subscribing helps me keep creating and sharing these stories with you. As the general began to speak, his voice resonated with strength, yet there was a softness that hinted at the burdens he carried. Clara listened intently, hanging on to his every word as he spoke of courage, sacrifice, and the importance of unity during these trying times. She could see the weight of responsibility etched on his face, a reminder that leaders were not immune to the pain of war. After his speech, Clara found herself drawn to him, unable to shake the feeling that their paths were meant to intertwine. Gathering her courage, she approached him, her heart racing. "General Harrington," she said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. "Thank you for coming to our town. Your words mean a lot to us." He turned to her, his expression softening as he regarded her with genuine interest. "And who might you be?" he asked, his tone warm and inviting. "Clara Thompson," she replied, her cheeks flushing slightly. "I'm helping organize the support efforts for the troops. We want to do our part to show them they're not alone." Michael's eyes sparkled with admiration. "It's inspiring to see young people like you taking initiative. The strength of this community is a testament to your spirit." Their conversation flowed easily, each exchange revealing layers of their personalities. Clara spoke passionately about her desire to help, while Michael shared stories of the soldiers he had met, their hopes and fears echoing in his words. As they spoke, an unspoken connection began to form, a bond that transcended the boundaries of their worlds. Clara felt a warmth spreading through her, a sense of understanding that was both exhilarating and terrifying. Days turned into weeks, and Clara found herself eagerly awaiting the moments when she could catch a glimpse of Michael. He became a regular visitor to the town, often stopping by the community hall to lend his support. Each encounter deepened their connection, and Clara's admiration for him blossomed into something more profound. She admired his dedication to duty, but it was the kindness he showed to those around him that truly captured her heart. As the war raged on, Clara's involvement in the resistance efforts grew. She organized fundraisers, wrote letters to soldiers, and even began to learn first aid, determined to contribute in any way she could. Michael became her confidant, and their letters exchanged during his absences became a lifeline for both of them. Clara poured her heart into her words, sharing her dreams, fears, and the mundane details of farm life, while Michael responded with tales of camaraderie and the harsh realities of the front lines. One evening, as Clara sat at her desk, the soft glow of a lamp illuminating her handwritten letter, she paused to reflect on the bond they had forged. The ink flowed easily from her pen, her thoughts spilling onto the page as she wrote about her hopes for peace, for a world where love could thrive free from the shadows of war. She signed her name with a flourish, her heart racing at the thought of sending it to him. As the weeks passed, the war intensified, and Clara felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. The news from the front was grim, and the community was gripped with fear for their loved ones. Yet, through it all, Clara remained steadfast, channeling her energy into the support efforts, determined to uplift those around her. One fateful day, Clara received a letter from Michael that would change everything. The words on the page were filled with emotion, revealing the struggles he faced as a leader and the toll it took on his spirit. He spoke of the sacrifices made by the brave men and women who fought for freedom, and his longing for the simple joys of life back home. "I think of you often, Clara," he wrote. "Your spirit inspires me to keep going, to fight for a future where we can live without fear. I hope to return to you one day." As she read his words, tears brimmed in Clara's eyes. The love that had blossomed between them felt both fragile and unyielding, a delicate thread that connected them despite the miles and the chaos of war. She clutched the letter to her chest, feeling the weight of his longing echoing in her heart. But the war was relentless, and soon the news arrived that Michael had been called to the front lines. The weight of that news settled heavily on Clara's shoulders, her heart aching at the thought of him stepping into danger. They had shared so much, yet the thought of losing him felt unbearable. In the days leading up to his departure, Clara poured her heart into every letter she wrote, each one a testament to her love and her unwavering support. Their final meeting before he left was charged with emotion. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the fields as Clara and Michael stood beneath the old oak tree that had become their refuge. The world around them faded away as they locked eyes, the unspoken words hanging in the air. "Clara," Michael said, his voice thick with emotion, "I don't know what the future holds, but I want you to know that you are my light in this darkness. I will fight to return to you." Tears streamed down Clara's cheeks as she reached for his hand, intertwining their fingers. "Promise me you'll be careful," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I can't bear the thought of losing you." "I promise," he vowed, pulling her into an embrace that felt like a lifeline. The warmth of his body against hers, the steady rhythm of his heartbeat, was a reminder of the love they had forged amid the chaos of war. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, Clara felt a flicker of hope amidst the uncertainty. With a heavy heart, they parted ways, the weight of their promises lingering in the air. Clara watched as he walked away, her heart aching with a mixture of pride and fear. She knew he was destined for greatness, yet the thought of him facing the horrors of war filled her with dread. As the days turned into weeks, Clara threw herself into her work, channeling her emotions into supporting the war effort. She became a symbol of strength for her community, organizing rallies and fundraisers, her laughter echoing through the halls of the community center. Yet in the quiet moments, when the world around her fell silent, she felt the ache of his absence. Michael's letters arrived sporadically, each one a lifeline that tethered her to him. He wrote of the camaraderie among the soldiers, the bonds formed in the face of adversity, and the moments of beauty that broke through the darkness. But as the war raged on, the tone of his letters shifted. The realities of battle seeped into his words, and Clara could feel the weight of his experiences pressing down on him. "I miss you more than I can express," he wrote in one letter. "The nights are long, and the sounds of war are relentless. But I hold on to the thought of you, of the life we will build together when this is all over." Each letter brought Clara a mix of hope and despair. She clung to his words, finding solace in the knowledge that their love endured despite the chaos surrounding them. Yet, as the war continued, the news from the front grew increasingly grim. Clara's heart raced with worry, each day bringing a new wave of uncertainty. Then came the news that shattered her world. Michael had been injured in battle, a letter arriving that bore the weight of his pain. Clara's heart plummeted as she read the words, her breath hitching in her throat. He was recovering in a hospital, but the details were sparse, and the fear of losing him consumed her. Determined to be by his side, Clara made a courageous decision. She would travel to the hospital where he was recovering, a journey filled with uncertainty and trepidation. She packed a small bag, her heart pounding with each item she placed inside. A photograph of them together, a book of poetry he had once gifted her, and a fresh stack of letters she had written but never sent. The journey was long and arduous, filled with moments of doubt and fear. Clara navigated through towns and cities, her heart heavy with worry for Michael. Yet with each passing mile, her determination grew. She would not let fear hold her back. She would fight for their love, just as he was fighting for their future. As she arrived at the hospital, the stark reality of the situation hit her. The building loomed before her, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made by so many. Clara's heart raced as she stepped inside, the sterile scent of antiseptic filling the air. She approached the nurse at the front desk, her voice trembling as she inquired about Michael Harrington. "Room 204, the nurse replied, her expression sympathetic. "He's stable, but it's been a tough recovery." Clara nodded, her heart pounding as she made her way down the corridor. Each step felt like an eternity, the weight of anticipation pressing down on her. She reached the door, her hand trembling as she pushed it open. Inside, Michael lay in a hospital bed, his face pale but peaceful, a stark contrast to the vibrant man she had come to know. Clara's breath caught in her throat as she stepped inside, her heart aching at the sight of him. She rushed to his side, tears streaming down her cheeks as she whispered his name. "Michael," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm here." His eyes fluttered open, confusion giving way to recognition as he met her gaze. A smile broke through the haze of pain, illuminating his features. "Clara," he breathed, his voice weak but filled with warmth. "You came." "I had to," she replied, her heart swelling with relief. "I couldn't stay away." As she took his hand, the warmth of their connection enveloped them, a reminder of the love that had endured through the trials of war. In that moment, the world outside faded away, and all that mattered was their reunion, a testament to the strength of their bond. Their journey had been fraught with uncertainty, but as they sat together, Clara knew that love could endure even the darkest of times. The scars of war may linger, but their hearts remained intertwined, a beacon of hope in a world filled with chaos. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, their love a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Clara's heart raced as she held Michael's hand, the warmth of his touch igniting a flicker of hope within her. The sterile smell of antiseptic and the distant sounds of nurses bustling about faded into the background, leaving only the two of them in their small world. She studied his face, noting the pallor of his skin, the slight sheen of sweat on his brow, and the way his eyes, though weary, sparkled with the same intensity she had fallen in love with. "Clara, I can't believe you're here," he murmured,
his voice barely above a whisper, yet it resonated deeply within her. I thought I'd lost you." "You could never lose me," she replied, squeezing his hand tighter. "I've been waiting to see you, to tell you how much you mean to me. I couldn't let anything keep us apart." Michael's smile faltered for a moment, replaced by a shadow of concern. "You shouldn't have come. It's dangerous here. The war, it changes everything." "Maybe it does," Clara said, her voice steady. "But it doesn't change how I feel about you. I would cross any distance, face any danger, just to be by your side." His eyes softened at her words, and for a brief moment, the weight of the world seemed to lift.
They shared a silence filled with unspoken thoughts, memories of laughter, stolen kisses, and the dreams they had woven together amidst the chaos of war. "Tell me about it," he urged, his voice growing stronger. "What have you been doing? How is the farm? How is everyone?" Clara took a deep breath, her heart swelling with pride as she recounted the stories of her community. "The farm is holding up, thanks to my family and neighbors. We're all doing our part, growing food, rationing supplies, and sending care packages to the boys overseas. It's hard work, but we're united. Everyone is doing what they can." As she spoke, Michael listened intently, his eyes never leaving hers. The stories of resilience and camaraderie filled him with warmth, a reminder that despite the horrors he faced, there was still beauty in the world, still hope to cling to. "And the letters?" he asked, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "Have you been writing to me?" Clara nodded, her cheeks flushing with the memory of pouring her heart onto the pages. "Every day. I've written you so many letters, Michael. I wanted you to know that you weren't alone, that I was thinking of you." "I received them," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "They kept me going during the darkest times. Your words were like a lifeline." Their eyes locked, and in that moment, Clara felt a surge of determination. "You have to promise me something," she said, her voice firm. "You have to promise you'll come back to me. No matter what happens out there, promise me you'll fight to return home." Michael's expression shifted, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his face. "Clara, I can't make promises I might not be able to keep." "Then make me a promise you will try," she insisted, her grip tightening around his hand. "You have to fight for us, for our future. You can't give up." He studied her for a long moment, the weight of her words sinking in. "I promise I will try," he finally said, his voice resolute. "For you, I will fight." As they shared that promise, Clara felt a renewed sense of hope. The world outside may have been filled with uncertainty, but in this room, they had each other. Their love was a fortress against the chaos of war. Days turned into weeks, and Clara found herself visiting Michael every chance she got. Each time she entered that hospital room, the bond between them deepened. They shared stories, dreams, and fears, creating a sanctuary of love amidst the harsh realities of the war. Michael's recovery was slow, but Clara's presence seemed to hasten his healing. They laughed together, reminisced about their time on the farm, and discussed the future they longed to build. One afternoon, as the sun streamed through the window, casting a warm glow across the room, Michael's eyes glimmered with a newfound determination. "Clara, I want to do something for you," he said, his voice steady. "I want to ensure that when I return, I can provide for you, for us." "What do you mean?" Clara asked, her heart fluttering at the thought. "I want to buy a piece of land, a farm of our own," he explained, excitement bubbling in his voice. "We could start fresh, build a life together, a place where we can plant roots and raise a family. I want to give you everything you deserve." Tears welled in Clara's eyes as she absorbed his words. "Michael, that sounds like a dream," she whispered, her heart swelling with love. "But you don't have to worry about that right now. You need to focus on getting better." "I know," he replied, a soft smile on his lips. "But it's something to look forward to. It's a reason to keep fighting." As the weeks passed, the war continued to rage on, but within the confines of the hospital, Clara and Michael created their own world. They found solace in each other's arms, sharing dreams and laughter that echoed through the sterile walls. Yet, the reality outside loomed ever closer, a reminder that their time together was limited. One evening, as Clara sat by Michael's bedside, a nurse entered with a somber expression. "I'm sorry, but I have to inform you that your unit has been called back to duty," she said gently. "General Harrington will be leaving soon." Clara's heart sank, the weight of impending loss crashing down on her. She could see the shock in Michael's eyes as the news settled in. "When?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Tomorrow," the nurse replied, her tone sympathetic. "I'm sorry." Clara felt the room spin around her, the reality of the situation crashing down like a wave. "No," she breathed, shaking her head. "This can't be happening." Michael's expression hardened, a mix of determination and fear crossing his features. "Clara, I need you to be strong for me," he said, his voice steady despite the turmoil. "I'll be back, I promise." Tears streamed down Clara's cheeks as she fought to maintain her composure. "I don't want you to go," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I can't bear the thought of losing you." "I'm not going anywhere," Michael insisted, his grip tightening around her hand. "I'll carry you with me, in my heart. You're my reason to fight." That night, Clara lay awake in her small room, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. She replayed their conversations, the promises they made, and the dreams they shared. But as the darkness enveloped her, she felt a flicker of hope. Their love had survived the trials of war thus far. It could endure this, too. The next morning, Clara arrived at the hospital early, the sun barely rising in the sky. She found Michael sitting up in bed, dressed in his uniform, the sight sending a pang of pride and sorrow through her heart. He looked every bit the hero she knew him to be, but the thought of him leaving filled her with dread. "Hey," he said softly, his eyes meeting hers. "You made it." "I wouldn't miss it for the world," she replied, forcing a smile through her tears. "I wanted to see you before you left." They spent the morning together, sharing quiet moments and stolen glances, savoring each second as if it were their last. Clara poured her heart into every word, every touch, knowing that soon they would be separated by miles and the chaos of war. As the hour drew near, the atmosphere shifted. The reality of their situation loomed heavy, and Clara felt the walls closing in around them. "Michael, she started, but he interrupted her, pulling her close. "Clara, listen to me," he said, his voice firm yet tender. "No matter what happens, I will come back to you. You are my heart, my reason. I can't promise it will be easy, but I promise I will fight for us." "I believe you," she whispered, her heart aching with love and fear. "Just promise me you'll stay safe." "I promise," he said, his gaze unwavering. "And you stay strong too. I need you to keep fighting for our dreams." The moment came too quickly. A knock on the door signaled the arrival of the military escort, and Clara's heart sank. She looked at Michael, her eyes pleading. "Please, don't go," she begged, her voice breaking. He cupped her face in his hands, his thumb brushing away her tears. "I have to, Clara. But this isn't goodbye. It's just until we meet again." As he leaned down to kiss her, time seemed to stand still. The kiss was filled with all the love, hope, and longing they had shared, a promise sealed with their lips. Clara poured everything she felt into that moment, knowing it might be the last time they would be together for a long while. When they finally pulled away, Clara's heart felt heavy, but she forced a smile. "I'll be waiting for you," she said, her voice steady despite the tears. "I'll be back before you know it," he replied, his eyes filled with determination. "And when I return, we'll build our future together." With one last lingering look, Michael turned to the door, and Clara felt a piece of her heart shatter as he stepped away. She watched him go, the weight of their love anchoring her, even as the world around her felt uncertain.
The days turned into weeks, and Clara poured herself into her work, channeling her energy into supporting the war effort. She became a beacon of strength for her community, organizing fundraisers, collecting supplies, and writing letters to the soldiers. Each letter she penned to Michael was filled with love and encouragement, a reminder that they were fighting for something greater than themselves. But as the war dragged on, the letters from Michael became less frequent. Clara's heart ached with every passing day, the silence growing louder in his absence. She clung to the memories of their time together, replaying their conversations in her mind like a cherished film. Yet with each new day, a gnawing fear took root within her, a fear that she might never see him again. One evening, as Clara sat at the kitchen table, her hands trembling as she wrote yet another letter, a knock echoed through the house. Startled, she looked up, her heart racing. It was a delivery man, holding a small envelope. "Miss Clara Thompson?" he asked, and her heart leaped at the sound of her name. "Yes, that's me," she replied, her voice trembling with anticipation. He handed her the envelope, and she felt the weight of it in her hands. It was from Michael. She tore it open, her heart pounding in her chest as she read his familiar handwriting. "My dearest Clara," the letter began, "I hope this reaches you. I can't tell you where I am, but I want you to know that I am safe. The days are long and the nights are filled with uncertainty, but your love gives me strength. I carry you with me everywhere I go. You are my light in the darkness." Tears streamed down her cheeks as she read his words, each sentence a balm for her aching heart. He continued to describe the camaraderie among the soldiers, the laughter they shared even in the bleakest of times, and the dreams they all held on to, dreams of returning home, of love, and of peace. "I promise I will come back to you," he wrote. "Until then, keep fighting for us, Clara. Your strength inspires me more than you know." As she finished the letter, Clara felt a renewed sense of purpose. Michael was out there, fighting for their future, and she would honor that by continuing to fight for him, for their dreams. She took a deep breath, wiping away her tears, and set to work, determined to make every moment count. Weeks turned into months, the seasons shifting as time wore on. Clara remained steadfast in her efforts, her heart aching but filled with hope. She often found herself standing at the edge of the fields, gazing out at the horizon and imagining Michael's return, the moment when they would finally be reunited. Then, one fateful day, as Clara was sorting through supplies at the community center, a commotion erupted outside. She rushed to the window, her heart racing as she saw a group of soldiers arriving. Among them, a familiar figure stood tall, his uniform a bit tattered, but his spirit unmistakable. "Michael!" she shouted, her voice breaking with emotion. Without a second thought, she dashed outside, her heart pounding in her chest. As she ran towards him, the world around her faded into a blur. All that mattered was the man who had captured her heart, the man who had promised to return. When they finally met, Clara threw herself into his arms, the warmth of his embrace enveloping her like a protective shield. "I'm home," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I can't believe it," she replied, tears streaming down her cheeks. "You're really here." Michael pulled back slightly, cupping her face in his hands. "I promised, didn't I?" "Yes," Clara replied, her heart swelling with love. "And I never stopped believing in you." As they stood together, the world around them faded away. The war, the struggles, the uncertainty, all of it melted into the background, leaving just the two of them, their hearts entwined. "I've missed you so much," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I've missed you too," she replied, her heart aching with the weight of their separation. Every day felt like a lifetime. Michael's eyes softened as he looked at her, the love they shared shining brightly between them.
"I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere," he promised. "We'll build our life together, just like we dreamed." Clara nodded, her heart filled with hope. Yes, together. As they embraced once more, the world around them felt anew, filled with possibility and promise. The scars of war would always linger, but their love had endured, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In the days that followed, Clara and Michael began to rebuild their lives, drawing strength from each other as they faced the challenges ahead. They spent long evenings talking about their dreams, planning for the future, and cherishing the moments they had together. The farm was a place of healing, a sanctuary where they could nurture their love and grow together. As they worked side by side in the fields, Clara often found herself reflecting on their journey, the trials they had faced, the sacrifices they had made, and the love that had blossomed amidst the chaos of war. It was a love that had weathered the storm, emerging stronger and more vibrant than ever. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the fields, Clara and Michael sat together on the porch of their farmhouse. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the sounds of nature surrounded them, creating a serene atmosphere. "Do you remember the first time we met?" Clara asked, a smile playing on her lips. Michael chuckled, the sound warm and rich. "How could I forget? You were a whirlwind of energy, and I was captivated." "Captivated or just surprised?" Clara teased, nudging him playfully. "Both," he admitted, his eyes sparkling with affection. "You opened my eyes to a world beyond the battlefield." Clara's heart swelled at his words. "And you showed me that love could thrive even in the darkest of times." As they sat together, hands intertwined, Clara knew that their love story was far from over. The future held uncertainties, but they would face them together, united by a bond that had withstood the trials of war. The journey had changed them both, but it had also forged a love that was unbreakable. They were two souls intertwined, forever marked by the experiences they had shared. And as they gazed out at the vast expanse of fields before them, Clara felt a sense of peace wash over her. Together, they would cultivate their dreams, nurture their love, and build a life filled with hope and resilience. The scars of war may linger, but their love would endure, a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Clara leaned her head on Michael's shoulder, feeling grateful for the love they had found amidst the chaos. Their hearts beat in unison, a melody of hope, sacrifice, and unwavering devotion that would carry them through whatever challenges lay ahead. In that moment, Clara understood that love was not just a fleeting emotion. It was a force that could transcend time and space, a light that could guide them through the darkest of nights. And as they sat together under the stars, she knew that their story was just beginning, a beautiful narrative woven together by the threads of love, resilience, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow.